I'm Ed Massey of Massey Yacht Sales and Service. Myself and Jose Torres, also with Massey Yacht Sales, have put together a series of videos that takes you through all the steps involved in the commissioning and custom outfitting of a new Catalina 445. These videos start with the new Catalina 445 arriving at Sneed Island Boat Works in Palmetto, Florida. The series of videos will end with the 5 days of Massey owner orientation at Regatta Point Marina, also in Palmetto, Florida. We hope you will find this series of videos educational and enlightening. These videos will be posted on the Massey YouTube channel and the Massey website. If you find these videos of interest and would like to view additional Massey videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Feel free to contact me directly at 941-725-2350 or at edwardm@masseyyacht.com.
Hey Ed, good afternoon. Looks like there's a lot of work and a lot of progress being made on our 445.
We have made a lot of progress, and it's been kind of exhilarating because the owner of the boat, knowledgeable sailors, both the owner and his wife, and they wanted the boat outfitted where they could safely cruise really anywhere. That's allowed us to kind of really think through the whole package before we just started installing things. And going back to the earlier videos, you saw us at the yard, you saw us here when we're bidding on sales. So now, if we take a look at the boat, you can see that we've installed the two 380-watt solar panels, Starlink antenna, that's the Marine Starlink antenna, and then we've got the Iridium Go Exec antenna, the single sideband. You can see the single sideband insulators, and that antenna there is also a single sideband antenna. We've installed the Cato davit, and we always put stiff bars, or what they call prop posts, underneath the stern rail seats and on either side of the walkthrough so that we stiffen that stern rail greatly. Split stern rails are great because you can walk through them, but they are not as strong as a solid stern rail. So by using these prop posts to stiffen it, we get the good stiff stern rail, very stable, plus you have the very nice walkthrough. And then if you'll notice at the walkthrough, there's a piece of starboard, and the boat comes standard with what we call a poodle catcher. This boat, just on the other side of this boat, has the normal Catalina starboard poodle catcher in it, and they all come with that. But what we wanted to do on this boat, after careful measurements and spending some time at the Yeti store measuring all of their coolers, we found that if we made a taller poodle catcher and got rid of the cleats that held the standard poodle catcher, the starboard piece, that we could put a Yeti cooler, a Tundra 35, and yet have the same very high volume of water sluicing out of the cockpit should you take on green water or wash the boat. So at any rate, what we've done, we've got all of our Garmin 8612 multifunction displays in place. On this boat, we put 3 VHF smart mics on the boat, one at each helm station and one down below. So there's actually three different places you can access the VHF smart mic. Additionally, if we move forward a little bit around to the side, if you'll look at this Catalina 425, we have the outboard engine on the Catalina outboard motor bracket, and we have the Cato lifting crane. They do a beautiful job. On the 445, the lifting crane has to be considerably higher because on this boat we have to use the Edson outboard motor mount. So we made sure that we had the higher lifting crane on this boat, and it worked out just like we hoped it would. And then if we want to step down into the cockpit for a moment, actually if we stand right here, we can observe a couple things. You can see how we've mounted these solar panels. It's kind of important. Anybody can run the frames from one side of the boat to the other, but what we've learned, and all of our frames are the 1 1/4 inch, except this little 1-inch tube here that keeps the bimini itself a standalone bimini. So when we make the frames for the solar panels, you'll notice it's 2 1-inch tube, and then we weld gussets in between the tubes so that the tubes can't bend. If you just have one 1-inch tube, the weight of the solar panels and the boat movement, it can actually bend a little bit on a wide bimini like this. Then the other thing we do is we put these braces in the corner so that those frames can't move in either direction. And of course the solar panels themselves keep the frames from really moving, but we like to reinforce it just a little bit more. And then we run all the wiring down through this little vent right here, which is packed with silicone so no water can get into the boat. That will go to the Victron solar controller, which when we get inside the boat, I'll show where we put that. That works beautifully. And we've labeled everything because we have a lot of items on the boat: single sideband iridium, the solar panels, Starlink, single sideband. We've got a Garmin. Right now we're installing the Garmin Hub security system on the boat. So there's a lot going on. And all those wires have to be hidden. They have to be beautifully run. They've got to be wire tied and bundled just right. And we've been able to do that. And I kid around, I think we've run about a mile of wire so far, and we're not finished. So it's moving along nicely though, and we're really coming up in the next few weeks. We will be finished with the boat. And then of course we'll do an expansive owner orientation like we do with all of our new boat owners. We really want the owners to be extremely familiar with their boats, feel comfortable on the boats, and the licensed captain instructors that do the teaching are very, very good, very friendly, and have got thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of sea miles under their belt. So they know what it's like to handle a boat.
Excellent. So Ed, why don't you take us on board and show us a little more what's going on? I mean,
okay.
It's been a transformation since our last video.
Come over here for a moment. So we have two more installations forward. One, we have the Viking Rescue Pro 6-person life raft, and we've positioned it. You can see I've lashed it down, but we're going to mount that when we finish the interior. And then on a delivery or a passage, it's safer to have your dinghy lashed down forward, turned upside down, rather than leaving it on the davit. So we're putting some deck pad eyes down, so we'll be able to have a hold down system that'll be simple to secure the dinghy, not have a problem with it. Also, while we're standing here, we've got a 425 behind us and a 445 here, and this will give you a chance to see how we bring our Dodgers all the way back to the little notch out in the cockpit combing. You can see where you could huddle up kind of inside at the forward end of the cockpit in foul weather, and you really wouldn't suffer any weather blowing on you or a lot of wind. You're kind of hidden in a safe spot. Also, on all of our Dodgers, we always put these handholds port and starboard, so they're very secure. We always build a cover for the windshield because that's a polycarbonate windshield. And something we've learned a while back was how to make a T-top out of the connecting panel. And you can see I've opened up to the first position, this T-top. So getting onto the boat from the dock becomes very, very simple. If we go to the second position, which is further inboard, we would have a T-top with only a panel about that wide connecting the Bimini to the Dodger. So you wouldn't have to disconnect the connecting panel at all. It stays in place, really quick and easy to unfold it or fold it. And that way you can sail the boat, look at your sail trim, but you haven't had to remove that connecting panel and stow it somewhere.
So that's what I was talking about on a previous video with that Bimini top. It adds a high degree of safety when you do the transition from cockpit to weather deck, which is the most dangerous transition when you're sailing and you're trying to get forward on the boat. So I think that was a great idea.
One of the great ideas Catalina had, and one of the great features, since about 2014 or 15, is they did take the stern rails all the way to the boarding gate. And I know most of you have noticed that at boat shows or when you see these 5 Series Catalinas, but by having it that way, as Jose just said, anytime your hand goes to something to grab in the cockpit, it's a stainless steel tube, not a lifeline, and it does make coming and going from the cockpit very safe. We even put these what we call prop posts again at the after end of the Dodger, and there's a handhold there on that 1 1/4 inch tubing. So your hand goes here, your hand goes there, goes up to the handholds port and start of the Dodger. I don't know how you could make anything safer and more stable than that arrangement.
Okay, folks, as we continue the commissioning of the 445, now on the inside of the Catalina 445 with Ed, and Ed is going to kind of walk us through all of the things, I'm going to call it all of the toys that have been added to this beautiful Catalina 445. So a lot has changed, and Ed is going to be kind enough to bring us up to date on all of the changes.
So this yacht is a work in progress. It's going to be beautifully outfitted. You've been following the progress right along in these videos. And I'll give you, we're not finished, so the boat's a little disheveled, but we're getting there. So I'll kind of walk you through what kind of come to completion or well along the way down below here. And I think I'll start right here. This is a Garmin Hub security system. And this system will feature geo-fencing, as well as we'll have a security system. If somebody opened the companionway, we would immediately know. And then you can do a lot more. This right here is a cell phone signal amplifier. And you'll notice that we put that, well, of course, we center justify things. We're very conscious of how things look physically. They have to look good and work well. But this is adjacent to this. So when the boat owner monitoring the boat from afar, this signal booster should help him get a good signal from his hub security system. Over here, we've installed an Apple TV module. And of course, these are all smart TVs so that you can have streaming if you have Wi-Fi connection on the TV here. And the Apple TV is something the owner wanted. We've installed also 7 of the Caframo 9-inch fans. These are really nice fans. And the way we install them is we run a dedicated line all the way around the boat with a breaker. So the fans work off a dedicated breaker. That way the fans aren't connected to the light system. We think this is a better way to do things. If we move back to the chart table, I'll just walk back here. What we've done here is we've put a Garmin 8612 multifunction display that of course shares information through the backbone, all the information that the two 8612 displays give to the boat owner up at the helm station. Here we have, this is the Fusion sound system. Next to it is the ICOM single sideband. Next to that is one of 3 smart VHF RAM mics. We have one at each helm station in the cockpit and one here. This is the Iridium, and then the Starlink. You don't see a Starlink here, but we have Starlink on the boat. That is accessed through the cell phone. So we have Starlink for Wi-Fi. We have the Iridium for the phone, and then of course single sideband. The ham operator, if you have a ham license, you can talk to just about anybody, any other ham operator worldwide with these ICOM single sideband systems. We had already talked about another Garmin unit here. This is the 8612 multifunction display, and it's tied to all the Garmin suite of instruments by the way of the backbone. If we move over here, we haven't done it yet, but we will have a Seagull water filtration system at this faucet, but this will be the dedicated faucet for it. We've installed a custom installation of a coffee bean grinder and coffee maker right here. You can see it's not going to move anywhere, and we have a toast colored umbrella cover that is coming for it. As we move to the aft stateroom on the port side, let me just turn on the light. And what we've got here is we've got this Splendid washer dryer. And then over here, by the way, this is the Iridium power pack and router. And we've placed it someplace that's out of the way, but easy to get to. We've run the wiring, as you can see along here, so it's out of the way and hardly visible. And then we installed inside the filters locker another outlet, a 110 outlet, because Iridium takes 110. So it's all nice and neatly tucked away, but yet very accessible. The owners of the boat are divers. They really enjoy their diving. So what we've done here is we've built a custom tank rack for 6 air tanks, and you can see they're very secure. They're not going anywhere. Then we're going to modify this area here with a 4-inch fiddle going all the way around it. We're also going to do a little more reinforcement for this upper berth, and then we'll go ahead and be able to organize things here. You can see it's kind of messy right now, but it won't be when we're finished. These are parts that were part of that berth system in the port aft stateroom that we removed so that we could build the tank rack. Then over on the starboard stateroom, we are going to house the Rainman water maker. The base unit will be here on top of this cabinet that gets you access into the back of the engine and the transmission. And we're going to put the membrane, we'll build a little enclosure for it. We're putting the membrane over there. So we've got everything pretty well placed where we want it. We'll continue working on finishing all the nuance on all these items. And when we're finished, I think everything will have its place. It won't actually be cluttered when we're finished. And the boat will be very nice. Now we're also installing, and we've finished the work with the exception of the seacock and through hull on the freshwater / seawater high capacity deck wash down. We're just about ready to do that. I've got to take the boat back to the yard to get that through hull put in. That's most of what we have left to do. When we're finished with all that, we'll detail detail the boat from one end to the other, inside and out, and then we'll begin the 5 days of owner orientation on all the instruments we've installed, the Garmin nav suite, and then boat handling for 4 days. I spend the first day going through the owner's manual with every boat owner, make sure that they know where everything is located on the boat. The Catalina owner's manuals are really good. If the owners will take the time to read them, they'll know their boat very well. And what I do is I send anybody that buys a new Catalina from us, I send them a digital owner's manual so they can study the owner's manual prior to actually starting the orientation. That's about where we are right now on the interior of the boat.
So Ed, is there, I mean, we always talk about the wish list of the sailors. Is there something that this boat does not have?
Well, I think we're pretty much there with the davit system, the anchor hoist system, the dinghy tie down that we're doing on the bow of the boat, and the Viking Rescue Pro 6-person life raft that we're mounting there on the sea hood. I think this is actually there is another thing we're doing. I'd forgotten to mention it. We'll do that this week. We're installing the Genoa car sliding system where you can control the Genoa cars from the cockpit and really fine-tune the sail trim. That'll be about the package. Maybe we'll think of something else, but I think right now that is the package.
Excellent. Now we've been working on this boat now for
several months.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 months.
Right, about 3 months.
So it's that much work to get a brand new boat from the factory ready for delivery to a new customer.
Well, typically it takes, I always tell folks, I would like 6 weeks to 8 weeks to really put their boat together correctly, fine tune the instruments, take them out in the river, do our sea trials. On this boat, it's going to take another month just because there are more items that we're custom outfitting on the boat. And really, most owners are very patient to allow my team and myself to do these boats correctly. You know, there's a saying down at the service yard at Sneed, when a customer is kind of nudging the service manager at Sneed to get an installation done quickly, the service manager's reply is, well, we can either do it right now or we can do it right. You just choose which one you're happy with. And I think there's some wisdom in that.
Yes.
You're going to own the boat a long, long time, and if you'll let the folks putting the boat together really do their job, and they kind of go back and check all of their work, it'll pay dividends for years and years and years.
Excellent. Thank you, Ed.
We hope you have enjoyed these videos showing how we commission a new Catalina. Massey offers the yacht owners the opportunity to spec out many custom installations in addition to the various Catalina factory options. If you find these videos of value and would like to view additional Massey videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Feel free to contact me directly at 941-725-2350 or at edwardm@masseyyacht.com. And remember, Catalina yachts are uniquely American with a strong focus on performance, safety at sea, and enduring value. They are overbuilt and underpriced, and that's why Catalina yachts are the sailor's choice.